We've been talking about the handful of Republicans who aren't people we love. They're not people I'm going around saying, if only we could get Mitt Romney to be president. But we recognize that we now have two very different calibers of Republicans out there. I am going to play a clip of Mitt Romney for you here from over the weekend on Meet the Press. Mitt Romney was asked about the Biden impeachment inquiry, and he's saying something which is so simple. You can't get simpler than this, but it's surprising to hear from 2023 Republicans. Romney says, if we're going to do this impeachment thing with Biden, I would like there to be evidence that he did something worthy of impeachment. How dare he ask for evidence before going forward with an impeachment inquiry? And by the way, asked whether he has seen any such evidence. He says, no, I have not. This gets you called disloyal in MAGA land. But all he's saying is what every single one of these elected officials should be saying. Listen to this.
As you know, House Republicans have signaled that they may vote as early as this week on an impeachment inquiry into President Biden, despite the fact that they haven't shown yet a direct link between Hunter Biden's business dealings and President Biden. Have you seen any evidence that President Biden has committed high crimes and misdemeanors?
No.
Uh-oh. Oh, boy.
I don't see any evidence of that at all. I think before you begin an impeachment inquiry, you ought to have some evidence, some inclination.
Can you imagine? He's demanding they have evidence? What a loser rhino.
That there's been wrongdoing, and so far there's nothing of that nature that's been provided.
So are you opposed to the impeachment inquiry?
Well, if I were in the House, I'd vote against it, unless they were able to bring forward evidence that suggests that there were a high crime or misdemeanor that had been committed. But so far, that hasn't been the case. Look. Fortunately, for most people, we're not responsible for the misdeeds of our kids and grandkids and great-grandkids. Nothing in my family I'm embarrassed about. But President Biden's son, Hunter, is obviously been a very unsavory person and has had some extremely damaging personal foibles, including a drug habit and so forth. That's not President Biden, and we're not going to impeach someone because of the sins of their kids.
There was a time when this wasn't controversial. There was a time where it would be, hey, you know what? We disagree about abortion. We disagree about taxes. We disagree about foreign intervention. We disagree about what the educational system should look like. We disagree about how healthcare should be organized. We disagree about immigration. Okay, but we're not going to impeach a president absent any evidence because of allegations related to something their child is accused of doing with no connection whatsoever to the president. We're just not going to do it. That is the way it used to be at a certain point in time. This view now from Mitt Romney is so rare that we hear it and we go, wow, that's refreshing. It's refreshing that he's saying, don't impeach a president unless we have evidence. Don't impeach a president for what their son is accused of doing, given that there's no connection whatsoever to President Joe Biden. The reason this is so surprising, the reason this stands out is because it is so rare at this point in time. It's considered controversial for a Republican to say this. It's considered disloyal in the MAGA wing of the Republican Party for someone like Mitt Romney to say, I just call me crazy. I don't think we should start an impeachment inquiry unless we actually have evidence that Joe Biden did something wrong. And there are lots of Republicans who are playing coy with this by saying, we don't have the evidence because they've covered it up. We need the power of the impeachment inquiry to force them to give us the evidence. That's the latest way that they are spinning this thing. Good for Romney. I don't agree with him on just about any policy issue, but good for him. Easy for him to do it. He's retiring. He's at the end of his political career. But so many in the Republican Party right now lack the testicular and ovarian fortitude to just say simple, uncontroversial things like this. No matter your genetics or lifestyle choices, as humans, we all share some basic foundational nutritional needs, and properly replenishing your nutrients daily is important for gut health, stress management, immune system, and that's where our sponsor AG1 comes in. AG1 is a foundational nutrition supplement. It supports your body's universal needs with something that you can easily absorb and utilize. So instead of a multivitamin or fumbling around with 10 different vitamin bottles, I've just replaced all of it with one scoop of AG1. I get the vitamins, the minerals, the prebiotics, the probiotics, all the stuff I'm looking for. It's delicious. It goes great in a smoothie. You can drink it straight with water like I do in the morning before my famous cappuccino. I've been doing it for years. You're just covering your nutritional basis for the whole day. It's simple. You don't have to buy a bunch of different vitamins. My audience knows I don't advertise miracle solutions and cures, and there's no miracle cure or solution here. It's just a simple product that works, that replaces the clumsiness and the cost of a ton of different vitamins. Go to drinkag1.com/Pacman. You'll get 5 free travel packs of AG1 and a free year's supply of vitamin D, which, as I've said, I take in the winter when there's a lot less sun out. The link is down below.